Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings ascend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, as per standing orders number 32.2, I'd like to request the bell to be rung for the first 5 minutes. Honorable members, I'm able to spot the Deputy Chief Whip. Can you please confirm if you have quorum in the House?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have quorum.
Madam Clerk, could you please take us through the order paper of the day?
Order paper number 276 of today, Wednesday, 5th March 2025 at 9 a.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Yes, Honorable Ken Ouko, the Leader of Majority.
Madam Speaker, point of correction.
Kennedy Oko, sorry.
Thank
Kennedy Oko.
Madam Speaker, I rise to table the following papers. 1, pursuant to the provisions of orders number 221-3 of the standing orders, I wish to table today, Wednesday, 5th March 2025, Kisumu County Fiscal Strategy paper for the financial year 2025-2026. 2, pursuant to the provision of orders number 182-6 of the standing orders, I wish to table today, Wednesday, 5th March 2025, report of selection committee on the realignment of committees. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next is Honorable Seth Okumu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Allow me to lay this paper. Madam Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders number 182, Part 6 of the Standing Orders, I wish to table today, 5th March 2025, a report of Joint Committee on Education, Technical Training, Innovation and Social Services, and Committee on Sports Culture, Gender and Youth Affairs on the Kisumu County Child Protection Policy 2024.
Next, Honorable Ken Ouko.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to lay a papers pursuant to Standing Order number 186-1 of the County Assemblies. I beg to lay a paper on Kisumu County Referral Hospital Financial Year 2022-2023. B, Nyahera Sub-County Hospital Financial Year 2021-2022 and 2022-2023. C, Kisumu Urban Project Cash Expenditure Account Financial Year 2022-2023 and Kisumu Urban Project Advance Account Financial Year 2022-2023. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, I'd like to confirm receipt of the Kisumu County Fiscal Strategy paper for the financial year 2025-2026, and with reference to outstanding order number number 222, 222, so 221, 3, 221, 3, and I will commit, based on this standing order, that upon being laid before the county assembly, the county fiscal strategy paper shall be deemed to have been committed to each sectoral committee without question put, for each such committee to deliberate upon according to their respective mandates and make recommendations to the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I'd also like to confirm receipt of from the selection committee report on the realignment of committee membership in the county assembly, and I'd like to commit this report to the House Business Committee for scheduling. Honorable members, I'd like to acknowledge receipt of the report on the Kisumu County Child Protection Policy 2024 by the Joint Committee on Education, Technical Training, Innovation and Social Services, and the Committee on Children, Culture, Gender and Youth Affairs. I'd also like to commit this report to the House Business Committee for scheduling. And honorable members, I'd like to confirm receipt on the examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nyahera Sub-County Hospital for the financial years 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023 by the Committee on Public Accounts and Investments Committee, and I'd like to commit these also to the House Business Committee for scheduling. And honorable members, again, I'd like to acknowledge receipt of the examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisumu Urban Project, that is the cash expenditure account for the financial year 2022-2023, and Kisumu Urban Project, the project advance account for financial year 2022-2023 by the Committee on Public Accounts and Investments Committee. I'd also like to commit this report to the House Business Committee for scheduling. And finally, honorable members, I'd also like to acknowledge receipt of the committee report on the examination of the Auditor General's report on the financial statements of Kisumu County Referral Hospital, that is KCRH, for the year ended 30th of June, 2023 by the Committee of Public Accounts and Investment Committee. I'd also like to commit this to the House Business Committee for scheduling. Next order, clerk.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Yes, Honorable Kennedy Ouma, Leader Majority.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to give a notice of motion that pursuant to the provisions of orders number 45 of the standing orders, this House adopts report of selection committee on the realignment of committees. Thank you.
Next, Honorable Seth Okumu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me to give this notice that pursuant to the provisions of Orders 45.1 of the County Assembly Standing Orders, that this House adopts the report of Joint Committee on Education, Technical Training, Innovation and Social Services and the Committee on Sports, Culture, Gender and Youth Affairs on the Kisumu County Child Protection Policy 2024. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Next is Honorable Kennedy Ouko.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I request to give a notice of motion that pursuant to the provisions of order number 45.1 of the standing orders, this House adopts the report of paper committee on the examination of a report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of A, Kisumu County Referral Hospital Financial Year 2022-2023. B. Nyahera Sub-County Hospital Financial Year 2021-2022 and 2022-2023. C. Kisumu Urban Project Cash Expenditure Account Financial Year 2022-2023 and Urban Project Advance Account Financial Year 2022-2023. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Next order, Madam Clerk.
Order number 7, statements.
Honorable members, it's statement time. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Commencement of business. Order number 8, motion. Adoption of the report of Implementation Committee on the implementation status of House resolutions, on the report by the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development, on the representation of the county in the Lands Control Board.
Yes, Honorable James Omolo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to move a motion that this House adopts the report of Implementation Committee on the implementation status of the House resolution, on the report by the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development, on the representation of the county in the Lands Control Board. Madam Speaker, this is the report of the Sectoral Committee. The report of Sectoral Committee on Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development on the representation in the Land Control Board was tabled before this Honorable House on the 7th March 2024 and subsequently adopted on March 19th 2024. Pursuant to this, the Article 185 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Standing Order number 184 of the County Assembly Standing Orders, the Committee on Implementation and its meeting held on Tuesday, 6th August 2024, resolved to write a letter to the CCM for Lands and Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development to furnish it with detailed response on the implementation status of the House resolution on the said report. Subsequently, the committee at its meeting held on Tuesday, 19th November 2024, scrutinized the responses received and further resolved to do a report and on the same. Madam Speaker, this report of the Committee on Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development had the following House resolutions. 1. That the County Executive Committee member for Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development to provide to this House a report detailing the efficiency of the current land control boards in fulfilling their function, particularly in accordance with the Section 5 of Land Control Act Cap 302 concerning agricultural land dealings. In response to the Implementation Committee of this House resolution, the CCM for Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development informed the committee as follows. A. That in compliance with Section 5 of the Land Control Act on composition and functions, the land control boards in Kisumu County are comprised of representatives from the county government, national government, with the county commissioner serving as the chairperson, members of the public and stakeholders from the agricultural sector. That county government fulfills its mandate by providing representation on the land boards and participates in the review and approval of agricultural land transaction. That the following nominees in the table below were forwarded to the Office of Land Administrator by the County Government of Kisumu on 18th August 2023 for inclusion in the respective land control boards in the county and were gazetted on 16th May 2023. Nyando, we had Tofa Otieno Omondi of that ID number and phone contact, and Lawrence Omondi Obat. In Kisumu Central, we had Bala Judith Alwach and Jane Akoth Rambaya. Moroni, we had Martina Rita Arena and James Obera Wamba. Kisumu East, Jacqueline Akinyi and Olwal Omondi George. Nyakach, Frederick Onyango and Michael Ouma. Kadibo, Fidel Oyugi and Mary Celestine. Kisumu West, Frida Lydia and David Okeyo. Seme, Andrew Udhiambo and Leonard Tita. That during the gazettement of the above nominees, there was an omission in the membership composition for certain sub-counties as follows. Nyando, we had Tofa Otieno Omondi missing. Kisumu Central, we had Bala Judith Alwach and Jane Akoth Rambaya missing. And Nyakach, we had Frederick Onyango missing. And finally, Seme, we had Leonard Atita also missing in the Gazette notice. But a complaint regarding these omissions were sent to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development on 17th June 2023. However, and the issue remains unresolved to date. In terms of processing of agricultural land transactions, the CCM informed the committee that the land control boards in Kisumu County are responsible for approving various agricultural land transactions, that currently the land control boards have approved several applications from the office of the district land officer from the time of gazettement to date as follows. Subdivisions of plots, 3,039. Transfers of plots, 6,116. Partitioning of plots, 744. Charge of titles, 482. That the county government plays an advisory role on ensuring that the land transactions comply with the county level land use regulations, zoning laws, and agricultural suitability policies. That once a transaction is approved, the county's role ends and the subsequent issuance of new land titles is managed by the National Land Registry. That the county lacks the tools to verify whether the approved transactions comply with county laws during post-approval phase. That the absence of a county-wide special plan which will serve as a guiding tool for land use decisions weakens the county's ability to influence the long-term outcomes of land transactions. That this leaves the county in a reactive position, dependent on outdated or incomplete land use framework. See, in safeguarding agricultural land and public interest, the CCM informed the committee that the land control boards work to ensure that agricultural land remains productive and is not subjected to speculative fragmentations or unsustainable practices. That the county government provides input on local land use policies to safeguard agricultural productivity and public interest. However, its oversight is limited to the approval stage. That once the land control boards grants consent, the county lacks the ability to monitor or enforce compliance with land use restrictions and guidelines. That without tools to track and enforce these conditions, post-approval, the county cannot effectively safeguard agricultural land or ensure that transactions serve the long-term interest of the community. D, in addressing environmental and developmental concerns, the CCM stated that environmental conservation is a priority of the county government, especially regarding ecological sensitive areas such as riparian zones, wetlands, and protected areas. That the county advises the Land Control Board to ensure that land transactions comply with environmental laws to prevent degradation of agricultural land. However, the county's role remains advisory, and it cannot enforce environmental recommendations unless they are incorporated into the conditions of the board's approval. That this gap in enforcement highlights the need for a more integrated approach between the national and county government to prevent sustainable development on agricultural land. Public participation and dispute resolution. The CCM informed the committee that public participation is a key component in land transactions involving agricultural land, that the county government ensures public involvement in the decision-making process and offers platforms for dispute resolution, especially in cases where land transactions may negatively impact the local community. However, the county has limited control over the land control board's public participation framework, which is managed by the national government representatives. Furthermore, the county's lack of involvement in the full financial aspects of land transaction fees restricts its ability to support more robust public participation and dispute resolution mechanisms. While the county oversees the initial proposal stages, it is not involved in the full transaction cycle, which limits its capacity to resolve disputes that arise after land control board's decision. Number two, that the county executive committee member for lands, physical planning and urban development present to this house a comprehensive assessment report detailing the revenue generation efforts, if any, by the land control board. In its response to this house resolution, the CCM informed the committee that the revenue generated from the land control board's operations comes from various fees as follows. A, national government revenue. That the fees such as application fee, which is 1,000, and board fee, which is 3,000, are paid through e-citizen portal into the national government account. B, on the county government revenue, that the county government collects revenue from land rates clearance fees of 5,000 and fees related to subdivision, transfer, or leasing, depending on the number of subdivisions. That the county must issue approval compliance consents before any application can be submitted to the Land Control Board. Madam Speaker, these are the committee observations. The committee, having considered the responses from the Department of Lands, Housing, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, made the following observations. One, that some land control boards in Kisumu County have continued to function without representation from the county, contrary to Section 5 of the Land Control Act, Cap 302. Two, that the county government lacks a county-wide spatial plan which would serve as a guiding tool for land use decisions, hence weakens its ability to influence the long-term outcomes of the land transactions. Three, that the national government's control over land title issuance creates a challenge for the county in enforcing its land policies. Number four, that the county government has been generating revenue from land rates on clearance fees, and fees related to subdivision, transfer, or leasing of the land. Madam Speaker, these are the committee recommendations. The committee, having considered the implementation status of the House resolution on the said report, the committee recommends as follows. Number one, that the CCM member for lands, housing, fiscal planning, and urban development immediately commences the process of developing a comprehensive Kisumu County Spatial Plan, and a progress report be submitted to this Honorable House within a period of 90 days. Number two, that the CCM for lands, housing, fiscal planning, and urban development seek alternative solutions with the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development to address the issue of omission of names for inclusion in the respective land control boards in the county, and a progress report be submitted to this House within 60 days. And number 3, that in the spirit of intergovernmental coordination, the CCM for Lands, Housing, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development initiates a progressive consultations to address various legislative and policy bottlenecks between the department and the national government to ensure effective land use management in the county, and progress report on the same to be submitted to this House within 60 days. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, it is now my honor and privilege on behalf of the Committee on Implementation to move this motion before this Honorable House for consideration and adoption. And I would like Honorable Henrietta Bodo to second. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Henrietta Bodo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, and now that the report on implementation status of House resolutions, on the report of the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development, on the presentation of the county in the Lands Control Boards, has been presented, seconded, and as per standing orders, I want to propose a question. And I propose that this report on implementation status of House resolutions on the report of the Committee on Land, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development on the presentation of the county in the Lands Control Board is now open for debate. Yes, Honorable Kennedy Ouko. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me first congratulate the Chair, Implementation Committee for a proper follow-up and a lot of revealing issues concerning land. Madam Speaker, land is a emotive factor considering interests we have so far. Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that there's a lot of disconnect between the land board, which is controlled by the national government, and what the input from the county government. Madam Speaker, you find the national government is not following the law by not including members from the county government who are appointed or forwarded to the board. And this is quite unfortunate, Madam Speaker. You know, the national government is the parent body of the constitution, of the resources, and of everything. At the moment you find the national government is not following the due process, it is quite unfortunate. What do you expect from the counties? We expect the same from the counties. And when the counties are also messing up, it is obvious that the citizen will not enjoy what is expected from both levels of government. Madam Speaker, it is, I don't know the criteria being used to appoint those who are representing in the boards. But I think it is a discretion of the CCM for lands. But it should also include some consultations. Because, Madam Speaker, at times you find them appointing people who are not within the villages or within the areas, and probably politically connected, but in the real sense, they don't have interest of the people at heart. Madam Speaker, it is always important that we include that in when this kind of people are representing the community. They don't represent the politicians, but they represent the community. So should there be any kind of such kind of appointments, they should reflect the wishes of the people. It is always very important. And there are very many ways of gauging that or getting such kind of people. We can get them through public participation. We can get them through recommendations from our admins and such kind of people. Madam Speaker, it is also unfortunate that most of our plots, which are subdivided, which are controlled by the county government, when the money is paid, it goes direct to the national government. There's no portion of money surrendered back to the counties. When the matter get into district boards, it is quite unfortunate. They use all the money, or they send it back to the treasury, all the money, and we don't get anything. That one also should be taken into consideration so that when such kind of funds are plowed back from the people, we can also get something. Madam Speaker, I beg to contribute. Thank you.
I can see there's a lot of silence in the house, so can I please call the mover to reply?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the silence in the House means that they are in concurrence with the report. And I want to thank honorable members for doing so that we move with speed to rectify what was not in order. And I want to thank Honorable Uko for commenting that when the appointments are being made from the CCM, there should be a consultation because maybe the people who are nominated by him somehow maybe we didn't have interest of the community at heart. So I think that could be a very good recommendation so that whenever these appointments are being done, then there should be a consultation county-wide from all the sub-counties that represent in our LCB. Also, Madam Speaker, land is very emotive, as Uko has mentioned. We should really be careful on how we handle this matters land. And there shouldn't be friction between the national government and the county. What should be happening is that the consultation between the two levels of government should be very seamless so that these tasks which are upheld by them is done in an amicable manner and for progress of the society. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to reply. Asante.
Honorable members, and now that the report on the implementation status of the House resolution, on the report of the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development on the representation of the county in the Lands Control Board has been presented, seconded and debated, and it's time for me to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the report on implementation status of the House resolution, on the report of the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development on the representation of the county in the Lands Control Board, say aye. And as many of the contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. And the report, and this report on the implementation of the status of the House resolution, on the report of the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning and Housing and Urban Development, on the representation of the county in the Lands Control Board has been adopted today, Wednesday, the 5th of March, 2025 at 9:45 hours. And I direct that this report, together with the answered report, be submitted to the relevant department for purposes of implementation. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, there is no any other business in the order paper.
And there being no any other business, this House stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, the 5th of March, 2025 at 2:30 p.m.